Jeez, mate, honestly, that game, I know I had to watch it back because I couldn't stay up for the 2 a.m. kickoff. But my God, that is one of the best games from England I have ever seen. Had pretty much everything. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Mexico 2, England 3, and England's first ever win at the Azteca Stadium. Mexico's third defeat in about 80 odd games, something stupid like that. The odds were stacked against England throughout this whole sort of build up to the game. The altitude, Mexico being the host nation, all sorts. And to be fair, the way the game started, it was looking like that. England were obviously put on the back foot. They had to sort of adapt to the conditions. They weren't doing as much running because they were probably going to gas out. And Mexico were playing some decent stuff in that first half. But then, all of a sudden, a transition goal, nice throw out by Pickford, good run by Declan. Saka going outside onto his right foot like we begged for him to do at Arsenal. And then Bellingham back stick. And that first half, it was very cagey. It was very sort of tactical. You can tell England was sort of trying to preserve themselves, just get through the first 20 minutes, and that's what they'd done. Mexico did have a couple chances. The Raul Jimenez header in particular, good save from Pickford, and a good header by Raul Jimenez, to be fair. Um, but we did do decently well to limit them. And we get to that sort of 35-minute mark, and you're thinking, right, just get to half time. We've done what we needed to do. We weathered the storm. The crowd started to get a bit sort of silent. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, two goals in about a minute. The first goal, like I said, good cross by Saka, Bellingham in the back stick. And then the second one, good play by Harry Kane because I thought he was going to shoot. I actually thought he was going to shoot. And he played it back to Bellingham and again gets a nice goal. And again, you're thinking, right, just get to half time, and listen, poor defending in the box. They get a goal back, and what a goal, by the way. And then the second half comes round, and to be fair, let's go before that. No one expected that first half from England. Yes, we went in on the back foot at half time. Mexico was starting to get back into the game. However, to go there, shut Mexico out, and to be fair, yes, Mexico aren't the best of teams on the table. They're a good team. They're not the best of teams, but to be playing them pretty much in an away game. Yes, it's a World Cup, and it's at a neutral venue. However, it's at Mexico's home stadium. It was majority Mexican fans. The game kept getting constantly delayed. It was meant to be a 1 a.m. kickoff here in the UK, ended up being a 2 a.m. kickoff. Obviously, the conditions that the players had to adapt to, the altitude, the being in the Azteca as well, that historic stadium, the amount of players that have graced that pitch, the moments in there, the moments by Pele in the World Cup, the Maradona hand of God, all in that stadium. And that was against England, ironically, as well. But to have that first half we did, and then go into the second half, it got way more scrappy, and Mexico was starting to get some chances. Which, to be fair, they did have quite a few chances throughout the game in the end, especially that spell just before half time, and the spell at the start of the second half, and then Kwanzaa makes life difficult for us. That was a red card. Your feet, like, although he did get the ball, he did get the players as well, and your feet can't be that high onto a shin. And to be fair, in slow motion, I'll admit it does look a bit worse. However, let's be real, you can't your feet can't be that high. And then I think for England, it was a case of just, right, be compact. You defended well for most of the game. Mexico are going to try and make this game a bit scrappy, but now that you've got a man sent off, they will go for it more, and they did. They took off their two midfielders and then put two forwards on, so they were clearly going for it. But then just before they did that, we get a penalty. Good thinking from Anthony Gordon for when Kane headed the ball onto him, be in the close vicinity, make sure you try and run onto it. The keeper wipes him out. It was a clear pen, and a nice penalty from Harry Kane as well. And then, to be fair, speaking of Harry Kane, he gives away a penalty. To be fair, I think it was quite soft, but you got to say that he did kick the back of his leg, and I've seen plenty of them be given, and then they get another goal back, and then it was pretty much all Mexico, as in it was played in their half, because all England had to do was just sort of keep them at bay. And I can imagine every one of you watching that at the early hours of the morning and in the stadium as well, wherever you're watching it, must have been nervous, because obviously for me, I knew what the result was going to be, but it was just a case of watching it to see how it did unfold. But you got to give props to England, man, honestly. Although, listen, it was a scrappy game. However, to go to that stadium, the opponent, to also, even a couple hours before, find out Brazil get knocked out, and now you've got Norway in the quarterfinal. It won't be an easy game. Don't get it misunderstood, because Norway did play very well in the end against Brazil. We got ourselves there, and I believe it's get past Norway, and it'll more than likely be Argentina. I'm not sure who Argentina have. Let's have a look. Argentina World Cup. They got Egypt tomorrow. So, to be fair, that game can go either way, because we saw the game that Cape Verde gave them in extra time. So, it could either be Egypt or Argentina. Going to be a tough game either way. It's going to be an FA Cup. What am I saying? FA Cup. World Cup quarter-final. But listen, give props to England. They put everything on the line defensively. Whenever a cross went into the box, heading it out. Dan Burn, Jeff Spence, John Stones. Fair play to all of them. Especially our wingers, Bukayo Saka, Gordon in particular. There wasn't a lot going forward at times, but tracking back, they've done their job. And listen, you can only give props to them, and props to Tuchel as well. But listen, got through. It's all that matters. This game, we were not the favourites in my opinion, but we got the job done. Like, sub, and share. Do whatever you have to do. I'll see you guys in a bit.